Welcome back, everybody, to the next episode of Final Fantasy XIV. If I sound a little rough, it's because I woke up 10 minutes ago and said, you know what, I want to play Final Fantasy XIV. But welcome. Last episode, we beat Ifrit. That was big. That was cool. Now let's talk to Thancred and mourn the lost. There you are, Soulkrist. Come, rest a while. You'll have a better opportunity. After witnessing their god's ignominious defeat, the Almaja will be less inclined to risk our wrath, for a time at least. Now, where were we? Ah yes, I was in the process of apologizing. I do hope you can forgive me. I arrived too late to be of any use, to you or the abductees. And they may be whole of body, but the same cannot be said of their minds. For once a man is tempted... but it ill suits me to dwell on the negatives. Amidst all of our misfortunes, there is still reason to rejoice. Ifrit is slain, and by your hand, no less. That is the deed of no ordinary individual, Soulkrist. Not that I ever thought you were ordinary. On the contrary, I have long suspected that you have the potential to shape the fate of this realm. What can I say? My fine eye of talent remains undimmed. Minfilia will be proud beyond all reckoning when she hears of your deeds. I trust you shan't object to my bearing the tidings to her. That way I can claim to have contributed something in this mission. You, meanwhile, have earned yourself a rest. Take some time to relax and return to the Waking Sands when you're good and ready. We can discuss matters in more detail then. Just don't take too long, will you? The realm's problems won't solve themselves. Alright, so back to the Waking Sands, in which I will see y'all there. And let's look at this mighty fine crystal until then. And we are back. So let us get to the Waking Sands. And let's get a minion out. Let's get the OG Kate Sith doll. Hi, Tataru. Oh, those are neat pants. They weren't symmetrical. I do like the Waking Sands. I can't remember if there's a merchant in here or not. There's Stola. Brent. Wait. Don't mind me, lad. I'm just here to delve into a shipment now that it shall I tell them to put it. Is that the guy from the beginning of the game? Looks like him. Let me know in the comments if that's the guy from the initial carriage ride in the beginning of the game, because I never got his name. The triumphant hero returns. Thancred told us the news upon his arrival. He is presently in the Solar, giving a full report to Lady Minfilia. You should join them at once. Lady Minfilia is most eager to see you. Cool, and I get a Dawn wrist guard. My late arrival nearly cost Soulkrist his life. I wasn't there when the Amalja took him prisoner. And I wasn't there when they served him to Ifrit. Yes, by some miracle he survived, but that does not excuse the fact that he should never have had to face such dangers alone. I failed him utterly. Just as I am failing you all. Done is done, Thancred. You can ill blame yourself for every... Hey guys, I'm here. Soulkrist, it is good to see you again. Impeccable timing, my friend. I just finished regaling Minfilia with your heroic exploits. Thancred has told me everything. You have done well to return to us. The perils you faced were undeniably great, yet a part of me believes that I had no cause to fear, and now we can put paid to our long investigation. As we suspected, the Almalja undertook both the robbery and the abductions with the aim of summoning their primal Ifrit. Yes. Nor is this tale limited to Ul'dah. Similar instances have been rife in both Limsa and Gridania of late. I dare say we've been curious as to how these crimes are linked to the primals. Permit me to explain. Having manifested in physical realm, primals must consume aether if they are to remain in their presence here, and the stronger they become, the more aether they require. Now, aether exists throughout the creation, and it flows through all life and permeates the very air that we breathe. Alas, this alone will not suffice to sustain the likes of Ifrit. Nay, he and his kind require a more concentrated sort of aether, crystals. Yes, the crystals. It is for this reason the incidents involving crystals can often be traced back to primals. Which leads us to why the abductions. To understand this, you must first understand how primals are born. I don't wanna. When all is well with the world, primals possess no physical form. Their essence is dispersed across the great river of Aether. Okay. However, when the world is plunged into chaos, those who worship the primals cry out to their gods for deliverance from suffering. These cries serve as a beacon towards which primal's essence is irresistibly drawn. It is this coming together or etheric coalescence which grants the being's physical form. Once born, a primal gains strength from its followers' worship. The more numerous and fervent they are, the more powerful the god becomes. Interesting. But the primals are seldom satisfied with such reverence to their adherents freely give. In order to gain more power, they do not scruple to create followers. They do this by tempering mortals, a process of which you yourself were subjected. Right. Yet even as Ifrit took your comrades in his thrall, you alone remained unaffected. This is thanks to the power you possess, the Echo. Oh. We know not why of it, but those blessed with the Echo are immune to the primal influence. I'm glad that. It is as though a great power protects us. When first you came to us, I told you the Echo would be instrumental in dealing with a primal threat. I trust you now begin to see why. The recent incident all share a common trait, meticulous planning. Such elaborate designs are a new development, and one which fills me with an unshakable sense of foreboding. While I share your concern, my presiding feelings is one of relief at your safe return. The immortal flames assured me that they will deal with the aftermath, so you need not concern yourself with that. We may rest for a time. I suggest you take full advantage of the respite, Soulkrist. Yay! You may be sure it won't last long. Once the people learn the identity of the hero who fell defeat, I fear they will have nary a moment to yourself. Yeah, I'm be popular. Whether she intended it or no, I'm feeling neglected to tell you something I think it would best be heard from one of us. Oh? Concerns the tempered abductees that were rescued. I'm sorry to report that all are to be put to death. The flames with whom you were imprisoned included. Needless to say, this information must not be made known to the public. Oh, can they not be cured? I swear to you they would not do this if there were any other recourse, but once a man is tempered, he is tempered for life. His very existence lends strength to the primal he cannot choose but worship. Wow. So we Scions continue to fight, no more innocents need to be sacrificed. I hope that we'll continue to stand with the Soulkrist. Wow, that's dark. But I should be going. I must offer my apologies to the Flame General for the losses of his people suffered. Until next time. Wow, I'm gonna drink some coffee. That was dark. Zesty like meatballs. Gods forgive me. How many more lives? We see it would never have allowed this to happen. I have to do better. I have to be stronger. I don't know how to pronounce that man's name. Why was the music so low in that scene and it's just louder now? I don't know. But we did get a bracelet of sorts, so let's see. Parrot. It's exactly the same. I mean, I guess I'll wear it because it I don't know, that's dumb. A hero in the making. Finally here. Finally is what I've been talking about for ages. Until not very long ago, you were but one of many adventurers seeking to make their way in Eorzea. But for your character and courage, you were raised to the esteemed post of envoy. Thereafter, you traveled the realm, aiding those in need without the thought of reward, confirming to Ida and Papliamo that the Scions would benefit from your aid. And no sooner had you joined us than you personally bested the primal Ifrit. You've achieved a great deal in a short time and won fame in so doing. Alas, fame does not come without a price, as you will soon discover. Oh, she has a nice blade. Look at that. It's all a nice curved little dagger sword. We have guests, Soulkrist, or rather, you have guests. Beg pardons. Hello. Lady Memphilia, radiant as always. I concur. I am given to understand the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have but recently welcomed a new hero into their midst. I am on behalf of the Maelstrom Grand Company of Leamsa to offer said hero a place of honor with our ranks. As you can see, Soulkrist, the recent exploits have garnered you attention of the Grand Companies of Eorzea. Each organization would have a fleet's bane for its own. To this end, all three have sent officers to court you. They would not only do such lengths to enlist a new recruit, that they have is evidence of their high regard for you. I find myself wondering how word of Soulkrist's deeds spread so quickly that the immortal flames would know of his triumph as to be expected, but what of the other grand companies? Taro? Eh. Your reputation precedes you, Master Ruther. 'Tis no ordinary man who can face Primal and emerge the victor. And imagine our pride when we learn that you began your journey as an adventure in our own Gridania. Know that the people hold you in high esteem and that you will always be welcome among us. The Order of the Twin Adders need of valiant men such as you. Join your strength with ours, friend, and together let us ensure the peace ever reigns over the Twelveswood. What a pleasure it is to finally meet you, Master Ruther. My comrades speak of you in the most glowing terms. A man of your talent belongs with the immortal flames. Join the strength to ours, friend, and together let us secure a prosperous future for Ul'dah. The Admiral has not exaggerated when she said she had the look of a hero. Full often does she speak of you, friend. It is only natural that she would want you to join the Maelstrom. Join your strength to ours, and together let the grand vessel lead Leamsa to the shores of glory. I hate Leamsa, so sorry, man. Lady Memphilia. Very well. Though I am quite sure you need no reminding, mayhaps a brief summary of the situation would be help to clarify thoughts of the matter. As you know, the Grand Companies are an all-encompassing organizations empowered to call upon the martial, economic, and technological resources of their respective city-state in times of strife. There are presently 3 such organizations in Eorzea: the Maelstrom of Leamsa, Order of the Twin Adder in Gridania, and the Immortal Flames of Ul'dah. Serving a Grand Company means serving the nation of which it belongs. You will be charged with its defense and tasked with advancing its cause. In return for your faithful service, you will be furnished with various rewards, some which may well prove useful to you in your other endeavors. If you are agonizing over which of the Grand Companies best deserves your loyalty, be at ease. The commitment you make this day need not be permanent. Should you wish to shift your allegiance at any later date, you are entitled to do so, and yet I can see that is no small choice you face. A thought occurs to me. You will of course recall that the 3 city-states are planning to hold Remembrance services. Well, as part of the proceedings, I am giving to understand the leader of each Grand Company will deliver an address. Hearing these addresses ought to help you make the informed decision. What say you, dear officers? A fine suggestion. You are as wise as you are beautiful, my lady. Very well. Let Soulkrist hear the leader speak, then return here with his decision. We eagerly await your answer. And I need coffee. Oh, Tataru. I love you, lady. You're adorable. I know full well that adventurers are by their nature a liberty-loving breed and not best suited for the discipline of military service, but I strongly urge you to join a Grand Company nonetheless. While the promise of rewards is enticing in itself, it's not the only benefit. You are possessed of great power, Soulkrist, and with that are capable of doing untold good. Yet know that great power is wont to attract attention, not all of it friendly. There will be those who wish you ill, and you must needs be on the lookout for them. Yet, however vigilant you are but one man in the midst of Grand Company. However, you'll be one amongst many, a friend amongst friends. Your achievements will be shared, and so will the danger. I can think of no better arrangement. Of course, joining one organization need not mean leaving another. I hope that we can continue to rely upon your aid. The 12th know that you will have need of you in the days ahead. Grand companies seek to protect their own nations. We Scions, on the other hand, seek to preserve the future of Eorzea as a whole. Similar, yet not quite the same. Now then, I expect that you'll be afield more often in the future. As such, I would have you carry this link pearl with you at all times. I will allow us to stay in touch regardless of location. Yeah, it's like a phone. It's pretty cool. Comm device. Eorzea is changing, Soulkrist, and you have the power to help shape it anew. Shucks. None can say what the morrow will bring, but so long as we believe in ourselves, there is naught we can't achieve. Now it is time for you to be made ready for your journey. For your part, be sure to speak to Totaro. She will apprise you of where and when the Remembrance service is due to take place. Yams. Alright, speak with Totaro. I think they called her Tetaru. I prefer Totaro. I don't know why. Powerful. Love me my coffee, ladies and gents. Do you drink coffee? If so, what do you put in it? I do kind of a mild, bold blend and put hazelnut creamer in it. Because it's simple. Hey, Totaro. I'm sorry about all the attention you're getting, Soulkrist. I might have sung the praises a little too loudly and often to a few too many people. Next time, I'll be sure to hold my tongue, literally, if necessary. Anyway, I expect you want to know where and when the Remembrance service is taking place. If all goes as planned, Gridania's Grand Company, the Order of Twin Adder, will hold the first of 3 services, and Elder Seedsir Kanasena will deliver the address at Min Kahito Amphitheater. I should probably mention at this point that due to the organizational changes involved in assembling all the involved parties, it's possible that the order of the service might change. Still, there's not much we can do about that, so make Gridania your first port of call. Next, you'll need to go to Ul'dah, where Flame General Ruban Alden will be addressing the masses at the Royal Promenade. Oh, and it's rumored that there's a special guest. How exciting! Last but not least, you must take your way to the stateroom of Linsa Lumensa, where Maelstrom Chief Admiral Belwib Vlasfinstein will be giving her address. She said her last name, and I was like, huh? The room is accessible via the Admiral's lift. Identify yourself to the sentry Xanthael and he will admit you. Got all that? Well, off you go. Then I hope you find the Remembrance service suitably educational. I suggest visiting the city-state in my prescribed order, though with your record for impeccable timing and luck, the schedule may well change in favor of your preferred travel plans. Farewell. That just means I guess we can go in whatever order we want. So let's go back home to New Gridania. You know, we're also not far from 30, which I believe is the next is when we get our job class of the Dragoons. So let's go to Miketo's Amphitheater, and once we finish this whole bit, I think we will go do the class quest of Lancer. Right, gold sausage stuff. Well-informed adventure. If you love MGP, then you're best get yourself over the gold saucer and make the most of the 50% bonus reward and offering time season What? How do I get to the gold sausage? I love the gold sausage. I've never really gone there in this. I've never gone there at all in this game, but I loved it in Final Fantasy XIV.
I lost my son to the calamity.
The 3 Seedseers are all together.
Some say you couldn't take a step without stumbling over a body.
Didn't know there were more than one Seedseer.
Our forebears were once strangers in the Twelveswood. Fearful of the Green Wrath, they hid themselves in the dark recesses of the earth. Yet they dreamed of basking in the dappled sunlight of the forest. Through great effort, they proved their worth to the elementals, and were granted a place beneath the boughs. So it was that Gridania was born, some 5 centuries ago. Working hand in hand, the Hyur and the Elysian settlers sowed the seeds of our civilization, and soon they were joined by folk of all races. So nourished by the waters of unity, and blessed by
those
the
two.
light of the matron, Gridania flourished into the great nation it is today.
Do you see the Gridanian standard? There, hanging behind the Elder Seedseer. The entwined serpents represent the unity between Hyur and Elysian. An elegant symbol, do you not agree?
I like that.
In accordance with the will of the elementals, we have embraced a life of peace. Alas, our neighbors have not always sought the same for themselves, nor for us. Though we Gridanians have no love for war, we have still less for those who would threaten our way of life. Ever have we fought to protect the sanctity of the Twelveswood. When the Garlean Empire brought its war of conquest to Eorzea, we rallied under the noble standard of the Twin Adder that we might push back the encroaching darkness. And it was we who prepared the ground for the reformation of the Eorzean Alliance, that all the peoples of this realm might stand united against the common threat. "5 years ago, the Alliance met the armies of the Empire upon the fields of Cartano. It would prove the bloodiest battle in recent memory. Countless Gridanian lives were lost. As Supreme Commander of the Order of the Twin Adder, ever shall I bear the weight of our people's sacrifice. Alas, their loss was not the only tragedy to befall us that day, for soon came the calamity."
I love her robe.
The scars borne by our forest are a constant reminder of its violence. Our lives have been irrevocably changed, each waking hour a struggle to survive. Driven to desperation, some among us have strayed from the path of righteousness, resorting to banditry, poaching, and other unconscionable deeds. To compound our woes, the Ixal have returned in force, emboldened by our suffering. They test our defenses nigh without cease, and prey upon the vulnerable. So beleaguered from within and without, it is of little wonder that our unity now falters. Dark times are upon us.
Time was a man could walk
pox
the
on that
high
bloody
roads without
Ixal.
fear.
On this day, 5 years ago, countless Eorzeans laid down their lives that we might behold another dawn. Please join with me in honoring their memory.
Hear, hear.
And how do you propose to honor the memory of those you cannot remember, pray tell?
Oh, one's a girl. Are they scions? They have those mask thingies.
The destruction wrought by the calamity was indiscriminate. It dealt death to Eorzean and Garlean alike. Yet while we have labored to rebuild our homes, to rebuild our lives, the Empire has set about raising steel fortresses here in the Twelveswood.
Mm-hmm. We'll see
Let
'em.
none be mistaken. The Garleans remain the greatest threat to our survival. If we are to stand against them, we must remember what it is to be united. Our many troubles blind us to the woes of our fellow man. Thence is harmony lost. Yet harmony is the founding principle of Gridania. We are gathered here to honor the fallen. Let them be honored not only in word and thought, but through concerted action. I bid you join hands with me once more beneath the Twin Adder standard. And together, let us heal the forest's wounds, that our progeny might live in harmony beneath these ancient boughs. For serenity, purity, and sanctity. We must think of the children!
Woods will be done.
It's up to us to protect the
For
forest.
the elementals!
For the elementals! I love that.
If you'll permit me, Alfino,
Alfino?
and my sister, Alize, at your service. I saw at a glance that you were a fellow traveler. You might call us students of history, sampling the realm's remembrances in pursuit of enlightenment.
You're elves, I know that much. Gridanians are unfortunate enough to have contended with two beast tribes. The Ixal are questionably the more troublesome, being of a naturally warlike disposition and wont to summon their bloodthirsty primal Garuda. The Sylphs, by contrast, are peaceful in nature, being mischievous rather than malevolent, and have long been friendly terms with the Gridanians, until recently at least. Alas, they have grown aloof, a change observed as roughly the time they summoned the primal Ramu. Ooh, Ramu. Gridanians have no love for war, and they consider open conflict a last resort. Though they clash with the Ixal ever more regularly, they may be assured that they do so in self-defense. As for the Sylph, they are yet bound by peace treaty, though one wonders how long it will be before it is broken. The Twelveswood was grievously wounded during the calamity, leaving Gridania vulnerable to attack. The people are hopeful that restoring the wood, and thereby the power of the elementals, will put an end to their woes. Yet how long will it take? Centuries, I'd wager. Meanwhile, the Ixal are continuing their incursions, spurred by the Garuda and her insatiable appetite for destruction. Whether the Gridanians like it or not, sooner or later it will come to an all-out war, and when it does, the Order of the Twin Adder will need the help all the help it can muster. How valuable might the aid of a capable adventurer prove to them then? Well, perhaps we find out if the Elder Seatsayer's words fell on fertile ground. Bye. Okay, now we need to go to Ul'dah, so folks, I will see you there. Yes, perfect. So here we are, and we're going to do all of these in the singular video. I'm not going to split them. I think this is very important story stuff. Not only are we, choosing our grand company and getting kind of the history, but we're learning kind of what our intentions going forward will be as well. And who is Ul'dah's special guest going to be?
Behold, 'tis the Sultana Nanamal herself!
And
Yes!
Raban as well!
She leads Ul'dah adorably.
Hark you, souls of flame, drawn to the bosom of the desert, where the fire burns brightest and shall rage forevermore. Hurrah! Raban! Where since antiquity, under the sage and judicious rule of the Ul dynasty, we have wrought sand into gold. Where by the grace and glory of Nalthal have our brave sons and daughters flourished and prospered. I speak of Ul'dah!
There, at the Flame General's back flies the Grand Company's standard. Note the sigil. The golden scales of order balance the jewel of prosperity with the flame of might.
Great and many are the gifts our nation has given the realm. In Eorzea's darkest hour, on the killing fields of Cartano, none spent more in blood and gold than we. Thus was the 7th Imperial Legion laid low.
So that's how it happened. How soon history forgets.
Yet many left our gates, never to return. Let us pray for our absent brothers and sisters, that they might know happiness in the great beyond, as Thal's honored guests. If the fates were fair, the price we paid that day would have bought us victory. Alas, they are not. And now, but 5 years into this 7th Umbral era, the spirit of sacrifice which granted us our strength is all but dead. Look around you. What do you see? A people divided, downtrodden, and enthralled. Where are the merciful alms of the rich? Where is the just steel of the righteous? I ask you, is this the great nation our brothers and sisters gave their lives to save? You who call this living, dishonor the name of the immortal flames. It is but a slow death.
Damn.
Our enemies surround us. The savage hordes of the Amalja wait beside our roads, strangling the lifelines of trade. Meanwhile, the Garleans make mock of our borders and despoil our land of its natural wealth. We stand on a precipice, yet we do not act. Whether trader or soldier, monetarist or royalist, all must recognize that a divided Ul'dah stands to fall. Victory and fortune walk hand in hand. Ye who seek glory and wealth, look not to what little you can snatch from your neighbor, but to the boundless wealth of the world beyond.
Like the old version of JFK.
Now is the time to unite. Now is the time to ride forth. In the name of the Sultana, I beseech you. Line not your own coffers, but those of the immortal flames. Seek not to prosper from Ul'dah, but to restore her to prosperity. As the realm prospers, so shall Ul'dah. As Ul'dah prospers, so shall her people.
Yeah, for Ul'dah!
Together we are one.
We're gonna hear from the Sultanate?
Your Grace.
Raubon?
Oh, she sounds so cute. Oh my god! Oh my god, yes.
People of Ul'dah, I, Nanamo, 17th in the line of Ul, address you. Much has been made of the wealth of Ul'dah. Yet those who measured that wealth in coins and carats are gravely deceived. For the true wealth of Ul'dah lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her people.
Adorable.
Beloved subjects, I bid you raise aloft the torch of Ul'dah, that her flames might serve as a beacon for all Eorzea to see.
Long live Nanamo!
Glory to the Sultana!
For victory and
Hell was that
fortune,
voice?
stride fearless into the inferno, for we are, by fire, reborn!
I just was in the Inferno, just putting it out there. A bowl of embers, some might call it. Oh my god, she's adorable. He lifted her onto his arm.
Sooth,
The time is now!
I
What is that?
Fancy meeting you again.
With your sister, why is she so standoffish? The Uldans have a long history of conflict with the Almalja, the beast tribe that worships the primal Ifrit. Oh, I've met them. Judging by your look of distaste, I take it you've encountered them. The Uldans do not shy from confrontation. If aught threaten their precious prosperity, they will seek to crush it. So have they dealt with Ifrit thus far, smothering his flames each time. Yet he is but one of several problems. Though they have been quiet these past 5 years, the Garleans have not gone away. Meanwhile, refugees continue to arrive in droves, and Ul'dah has no clear policy of how to deal with them. After all, not even the Sultanate's coffers are bottomless, and even assuming they had the coin, resources will ever be finite. Which brings me back to the subject of Ifrit. It had been observed that the Almalja are summoning him with ever-increasing frequency. Every time they do so, the Uldans send their forces to smite the primal, and though they invariably succeed, each victory is brought with blood, and an award of attrition which they cannot as well sustain. Small wonder, then, that the Immortal Flames are eager to recruit more members. I didn't know they're summoning multiple times. At such a desperate hour, an adventure of your experience would be most welcome addition to their ranks. And then they just bugger off. Say until next time, farewell, goodbye, whatever, rude ass. Anyways, see ya in Limsa Lumensa. Alright, looks like they spit us out pretty close to where we need to be. Limsa Lumensa is a pretty popular place. I don't know why I dislike it whilst everyone else likes it. It's just what it is, I guess. But let's go see Melved Flaggenharben. Here to attend the Remembrance service. Be quick, the Admiral is due to give her address at any moment. To the stateroom.
The Garleans are another matter altogether.
So much for our alliance.
It's sunk beyond the seabed.
God, Melveb is hot, though.
Brothers and sisters of the sea, hearken unto me. Look upon this, our mighty crimson standard, and tell me your hearts do not swell with pride. "700 summers have come and gone since our forefathers first ran aground in this fertile bay. In that time, guided by the Mother of Oceans, Limsa Lominsa has grown from humble fishing village to uncontested ruler of the 5 seas and beyond.
Did you look as the Admiral bid you? It is a rather stirring standard, I must say. The crimson field is meant to signify the blood of fallen crewmates, while the black longship represents a pirate vessel.
Oh.
When the Garlean Empire marched upon Eorzea, we assembled beneath the Maelstrom standard, and our grand company was reborn. All answered the call, from the Knights of the Barracuda to Hilfir's bloody executioners. And together, we met our would-be conquerors upon the field of Cartano. That day, the world bore witness to the united strength of Limsa Lominsa. I swear to you, no army ever fought harder or with more courage, yet many of ours did not survive. Join me now in remembering those who fought in the name of freedom and fell. May their souls be returned to the sea.
Freedom. Yes, they have always been rather fond of their freedom. Much as the beast tribes have. Small wonder. Beneath the surface, one would struggle to tell them apart.
Oh.
It has been 5 long years since the calamity struck. 5 long years of tireless rebuilding. Yet still the wounds of the calamity fester and weep. But when I stand atop the mizzenmast and gaze out upon our battered and broken vessel, I see an undying spirit. Did we not build all this from the wreck of the Galadian all those centuries ago? Shall we not do so again?
The
Yet there
Galadian.
are those who would see this ship of ours sink beneath the waves of the restless Rotano. The Sahagin creep ashore seeking blood for their accursed god.
Those fishback
The Sahagin have risen?
While the mines of Ogomero spew forth kobolds who push ever south, despoiling our lands as they go. These savage beast tribes will be the first waves to crash against our creaking hull. And behind them swells the grim tide of the Garlean Empire. Even now the curs fly their flags within our borders. Doubt not, but that they will be upon us ere long. We are well nigh surrounded. Yet there are those among us who would rather turn their swords against their crewmates than our cannons against our foes. How can we hope to repel our many enemies when mutiny breeds below deck? There is but one course left to us. One bearing that will bring us victory over the beast hordes and the Empire both, and see this ship safe to port. We must mend the rift the Calamity has reopened twixt Pirate and Maelstrom, and stand fast with our adventurer brothers against the coming tempest. Mark ye well, a crew without unity is no crew at all. 'Tis but a mass of drowned men.
And she's surreal.
To me, then, brothers and sisters of the sea, gather beneath the undying crimson standard, and pledge me your strength, your skill, your wisdom. And with the guidance of the navigator, this great vessel of ours shall ride the waves, till sea swallows all.
Long live the Admiral!
Admiral Melvin!
Gather the lads!
Gather the lads.
Where's me cutlass?
Come on, when me
I'll
cutlass.
follow ye to the seven hells, Admiral!
I love the diversity of the speeches. I guess I'll talk on that in a moment.
Fancy meeting you again.
Shut up. As the Admiral mentioned in her address, Limsa is plagued by two beast tribes. The first are the fish-like Sahagin, worshippers of the primal Leviathan. The second are the kobolds who dwell beneath the earth and take the primal Titan for their god. Ooh, Titan. As if the beast tribe's presence were troublesome enough, the Garlean have also chosen to erect a fortress right in the Lumensians' backyard. And that is to say not of internal strife. As a nation of pirates, there is no end to the blood feuds between the various factions, and while they fight amongst themselves, the Garleans whet their blades and watch. If the Lumensians are to have any hope of withstanding the Empire, they must first resolve their own affairs. Differences must be set aside, and the primal threat dealt with once and for all. To this end, I expect that they will soon take divisive action against the beast tribes. Mark my words, the Maelstrom standard will be drenched a deeper shade of crimson ere long. That a capable adventurer like you would be a valuable addition to their crew is beyond question. Yeah, bye. Again, I mean, at least he nodded this time. But yeah, I really loved how different each of the leaders spoke and how they all kind of channeled their natural environment. Soulkrist, this is Memphilia. You are well, I hope. It would be correct in thinking that their final Remembrance service has now concluded. A moment ago, you say, what a coincidence. Jesting aside, I trust you remember our guests from the Grand Companies. Well, delighted though they are to have them here at the Wakened Sands, it would not do to keep them in suspense any longer than necessary. In short, hurry back. But yeah, I absolutely adore how they all kind of conjure their environments where they live in their speeches. You know, the Grand Seeds here was very much talking about the 12's Wood, the elementals, how, you know, how it all comes together to be what they are. Ryben talked about, you know, the desert quite a bit, but I think more than anything, Melveb just really everything it had to do with being on a ship, being a pirate, being at sea, and it was just so. It was so visual in her words. I think Merylvev had the best speech, to be completely honest with you. However, I have already decided who I'm going to join, and I'm doing the simplistic thing, which is I'm going to join where I started. I'm going to join the Twin Adders, mostly because I just feel like they fit a Lancer the most. Welcome back, Soulkrist. Were the Grand Company leader's words as illuminated as you'd hoped? Each nation is beset with problems. I trust you see why your services are in such demand, but would that there were more of you, Soulkrist, but you must be tired from your journey. Well, why don't you rest a while and take a moment to reflect on your decisions? Once your mind is made up, pray give the Grand Company officer your answer. Okay. But we are already at like 50 minutes. So I do need to, you know, cut it down a little bit. What's going on here?
The gods only know what grand company our adventurer friend will keep. The wheels of change are in motion regardless.
Brother, are you certain this course is best?
Whatever do you mean, dear sister?
The so-called Remembrance ceremonies were little more than standard waving rallies.
Agreed, but they need to get the people
As though
strong.
the Calamity and Seventh Umbral Era warranted scarcely a mention.
The seats here talked about him a lot.
Well, of course they were standard waving rallies.
I get it though, they need to be strong now.
Since you're so observant, mayhap you noticed what mention was made of the Warriors of Light? None.
Right.
I suppose they must have forgotten the heroes who spared Eorzea a fate worse than the Calamity? No, dear Alizé, they haven't forgotten these details. They have elected to omit them. Deep are the wounds the Calamity inflicted upon Eorzea. So deep, in fact, that the realm still bleeds. Needless to say, the beast tribes and their primals do little to alleviate the pain. So, the task of salving Eorzea's wounds falls to the scions of the Seventh Dawn, with a little help from our friends, the Grand Companies. Remembrance will yield no remedy. If our world is to heal, we must put the horrors of the Calamity behind us.
Our grandfather would never entrust the fate of the realm to despots who rewrite history to their convenience. There must be another way to cure what ails this world, and I mean to find it.
You are most welcome to try. Our paths may differ, but our destination is the same. In time, I dare say we will see eye to eye.
I should hope so.
I don't think this was in the original game.
Lady, we are to escort you.
Not at all.
Hope does not come into it. We share the burden of this fate, dear sister, and will prevail together or not at all.
I
The
believe
salve will serve not only to close up our present wounds, but prevent old ones from opening anew.
Yeah, I don't think this scene was in the original Realm Reborn. I'm pretty sure it's something they added. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for this episode. It's been quite long, almost an hour long. I'm not going to cut it into two. I want all three of those remembrance ceremonies to be in a singular episode. So hopefully this television movie length episode is okay with you. But the next episode, we are. I mean, you don't need suspense. We're picking the Serpent Officer. We're picking the Twin Adders. That's where I started, and that's where I feel most comfortable. I don't want to spend more time in Lean Limissa. I do love Ul'dah, but I'm going to be playing this with Oates, and so I'll join them with that character. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time. I hope you really enjoyed the story exposition, because to me, that was really special. That's just something that makes this game so damn good. It has such a great story. Thank you so much for watching, but until next time, bye-bye for now.